Welcome to this episode of Superconnector Stories. I'm really excited about this one. We have my dear friend Skye on this call, and we're going to talk about who he is, why we connected, why we crossed paths. He's going to lead us through a visualization, and then we'll end with, Amira. With Amira putting a nice little bow on everything.
Amira tells all, right?
Yes, Amira tells all. She explains it all. So who is Skye? He's a founder and CEO of Happier.
That's a program. So With Heart Coaching.
With Heart Coaching. Oh, yep. Sorry. Yeah. So I did the Happier Human, but yeah, With Heart Coaching.
With Heart.
And I feel that Skye, when I think of you, I think of someone who gets high on his own supply. Oh my gosh, like Skye is like, his essence is so positive and so pure, and your light is so bright. Like, I dare you to walk away and not feel like you're about to make an impact on the world after talking to Skye. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so great to be here.
Yeah. So how did we meet? You want me to say it or you? Yeah. So here's an interesting thing I'm learning as I'm doing this podcast about being a superconnector is that not all superconnectors are like me and want to be known. You know, like, you have a big following on Instagram, you're an influencer. And like, I like to have my name be out there, but some superconnectors are like stealthy, you know, and they're secretive. And we know we have one in common, and he connects me to really interesting people in my journey of life. And he just connected our dots.
Yep.
He connected our dots. And so when I met you, we're already a little bit like more open to the meeting because we both have a trust for him.
Yep. Great guy. So
a great guy. So who knows why he connected us, but like, what happened when we met? What do you remember?
I just remember I feel like we could have sat there for 8 hours and it would have been, it would have felt like it was 30 minutes. Right?
It was the pandemic and it was freezing or something. It was like the pandemic and it was cold, but we met and we were like, what was that?
It was one of our first coffees as well. Like it was, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was like one of our first coffee in-person meetings. And, that energy of like getting back in front of, like, I've been dying on Zooms, right?
I'm dying.
Zooms. And it's like
Personal
to meet someone
energy.
in person. Enjoying, and I don't care how cold it was. It was like just enjoying that cup of coffee and just, meeting someone and connecting about business and life and kids and all the stuff that we talked about. It was just an awesome experience. And I feel like we could have sat there for hours and just continue to rap.
I love these secret super connectors that do these like missions. They move around the world. How would you describe someone like that? Those secretive ones.
Talking about who I just had breakfast with.
I love the secrecy of it all too.
Well, I know. I'm sorry.
No, I get that that's the way it works. But like, I get that. But like, I kind of like it. It's like interesting.
Yeah. Whereas we're like,
you're like sharing details without sharing details.
Exactly.
You know? It's like,
So I think it's the kind of thing that energy begets energy. So I'm a very loud energy, right? So if you were around me, you're around me. He's a very powerful, calm, soft energy, meaning like there's a power there that's like just glowing. And if you were equated to like fire, he's like this hot burning coal that's so hot, but you don't think it's hot, right? And I'm like an inferno.
Flames, and he's the purple at the bottom.
Yes, exactly.
And
that's how I would describe him. So
interesting. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Some people are so hard to put in words, but what I will say about when I met Skye, and I love your name, by the way, because I'm like, what's that about? Having a name like Skye. Actually, let's talk about that in a moment. But like, I'm a matchmaker. I'm talking about like love all the time. And I just remember that you said to me, when I asked you about your life, you said, I wish everybody could have a divorce like I had. And I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me? I've never heard anybody say that in my life. We're talking about something taboo right now. I'm the child of divorce. I've never heard anyone say that phrase.
Yeah.
And you said, I have a secret dream. And you shared what an honor that you shared your secret dream with me, was to like, so that other people can have this and that you could help other people going through that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's and again, we all have our journeys in life, marriages. When we think about marriage, like it's such a common thing that is talked about in and glamorized, everywhere in popular culture.
Huge social expectations.
Right? Huge social expectations, which right or wrong or cultural expectations. And then, then we come into this other thing called divorce. And the reality is we have all these negative things, yet divorce is actually, you could argue it's actually more common in some ways than marriage, because people actually get sometimes multiple divorces in their life, and sometimes multiple marriages as well. But at the very least, you could argue it's as common as marriage. And yet we have these two pathways that go through this life experience and this life journey that so many people go through. And as my divorce was not something that, either one of us chose. And again, I'm very, very clear. I'm always talk about my experience in it,
Of course.
And we play different roles in it, and as I was going through it, my drive and my energy was, I'm going to make this the best divorce ever. Just like people say, I'm going to make this the best marriage ever. And we tried. Like, we had, again, each of us have different experiences, but we really, really worked at it. It was 10 years. We have 2 beautiful children from it. I would redo everything just to make sure we had those 2 beautiful children we have today. But as you go forward and as you start to step into the world of divorce, the commonality when you meet someone and, you say, I'm divorced. And it's like, I'm so sorry. And it's like, no, we got to change that narrative, right? We got to change the narrative that this is something that is something to be upset about. It's a life experience.
A fresh start.
It's a fresh start. And again, it's one of those things. And when you have children, when you don't have children, you can get divorced and create, just go your separate ways in life and move on. But when you have children, the reality is like you are going to be married the rest of your life because you have 2 kids you both love
forever.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful way to describe it. You're in a union together. It may not be the legal agreement of marriage, but when you have 2 kids that you love, you have to make a commitment that you are going to try to make that union. And it's a beautiful word, by the way. Thank you for that gift. You want to make that union and the commonality of your children as healthy and as powerful as you possibly can, because they're watching you.
And that's so dependent on that relationship.
So dependent.
And if you can't redefine it and give it a new birth, then it will only work against you and your children.
Yeah. So I often will say, I have a beautiful divorce, to reframe the narrative, or I'll say I'm happily divorced, not to say I'm happy I got divorced. Because anyone that's divorced will tell you, like, if we could all...
First experience of your lifetime.
You don't want to go through it, right? It's not what anyone wants in their life. You don't get married to get divorced. That's not why. But life happens.
Feels like an enormous failure in most cases. Yeah.
That's the thing that's the goal of reframing it, right? Is like, let's reframe this. There isn't failure. It's just decisions we make of how we want to make sure we move forward in life.
Well, I think there's even some element of it being able to acknowledge a failure in its extent, and then saying, but there is still an opportunity presented, because I think in any relationship, no matter where fault really lies, right? There's always 3 parts, right? One perspective, the second perspective, and the truth. And the reality is everybody is going to take some blame somewhere, and you're going to have made mistakes. And the truth is there's failure in that. And accepting that and calling it what it is okay. But there's also something beautiful in being able to recreate yourself. So what's hard coming out, I think, of failed relationships typically is even the way, whatever you feel for the other person, in fact, but even how you feel about yourself. You look at the parts and the mistakes you made, but part of what's beautiful of a new relationship is you have an opportunity to work on those parts.
That's right.
And then to prevent failure differently.
Yeah.
It's just the word failure is like the part I'm not loving. When we talk like success and failure and failed relationships, like it just...
Well, there's a measure, though.
It's just
society.
my understanding.
There's a measure of society.
I don't like
for
it.
Success. Well, it is the marriage. Yeah. It's a legal document. Yeah. So there is a failure, right? You have to go through the process. I mean, I'd argue, we can go on both sides of this, but what is marriage, right? Like, it's beyond a relationship. It's a legal agreement. There's a bunch of things that play into it, but it's not the relationship. That's the whole point. And the relationship needs to be restructured and redefined, no matter what the legal status of the marriage is. The marriage still failed, but the relationship never did, right? You gain and lose things in a relationship, but the marriage still failed.
Well, and again, I think if this helps, I don't know if this helps, but whenever there's a change, you have a decision to make around the change to say, I'm either going to let my past be a prison, or I'm going to actually allow this to be a springboard into a new way of growth.
Right. Be accountable and change.
So, and that's maybe one way that you restructure it a little bit, that this is, if you allow that past to continually be that prison, it is a failure. But if you say, hey, this is what happened, this is what happened. These are the decisions.
Part of it.
And exactly. And I often will tell people, like, it's 100-0. It's not 50-50. We are both 100% responsible for where we are today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
and accepting that. Just like any relationship, just like a great relationship, you're 100% responsible. Just, it's the same concept inside divorce that we have to accept 100% responsibility of it. And then from that point, now you can grow from it. Because when you sort of are looking backwards and putting blame, it creates that prison, so to speak, that holds you back.
It takes your power away too, because the blaming of someone else takes the power away, because it's not your accountability that you're answering to, right? You're blaming it on somebody else, and there's no power in that because you can't change somebody else.
That's right.
If you can take accountability for where your parts or actions took place, it's in that you have the power, because it's only that you can change.
I got to tell you that when people come to me as a matchmaker, they want to talk about, hey, so you're a matchmaker, I want to complain about online dating, and I want to talk about what I'm looking for. And I'm like, okay, well, hold the phone. Like, first of all, who are you? And then let's go down, relationship memory lane. And I want to hear.
Have you tried?
Yeah, and all these things. And I really listen carefully to how they talk about their relationship history and where they take responsibility and where they don't. And that's why our meeting impacted me so much, because I was like, well, who is this man? Okay, just really quick, why were you named Skye?
Yes, so my parents were ex-hippies. I was born in
I'm sorry, your parents were?
Ex-hippies. So I say ex because it was at the end of the 70s, so it's like they were sort of out of the Vietnam War and everything, but they still had those ideals. And my dad, when my mom was pregnant with me, said, how's little Johnny doing? Right. And she's like, do not call him that, establishment name. He's like, what do you want me to call him? Skye? Like blue sky. So then this started to stick. So when I was born, the doctor said, what are you going to name him? Oh, we're going to name him Skye. And he's like, oh my God, my heritage is Scottish. From Clan MacLeod, which is on the Isle of Skye, off the coast of Scotland. So that's spelled Skye. So it's this sort of universal story. And then in 2015 or 16, my mom and myself and my stepdad did a trip to the Isle of Skye. It was one of her dreams. It was an incredible experience.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So,
have you ever met anybody else named Skye?
I have. It's more common.
Spelled the same way?
Spelled the same way. It's gotten a lot more common over recent memory.
Yeah.
There's a couple of famous people that have been named Skye. And I've met more women that are named Skye than men.
About to say,
got it.
Probably more.
Oh, wait. Remember at that little connector meeting that I did that you met my friend Travis Skye?
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
You started out as a high school
history teacher.
History teacher. Yeah. Well, what history do you love? What are you into?
I love American history. So because of
I didn't know you were such a nerd, Skye.
Any particular period of time?
Nerd. I love the Great Depression through World War II.
That's just so fascinating from a behavioral and so a sociological standpoint.
And navigating the world.
Yeah.
Right, is where America sort of grew up.
And opportunities out of trauma and
my God.
The psychological impacts.
And I grew up in Hyde Park, New York, which is where FDR's hometown was. So the fact that he was the president during that time frame. And if you want to draw some equivalencies, look at, there's a lot of equivalent features right now from the 20s that you can actually draw from. So it's a really fascinating
there are,
to study it. So
You mean like what's happening in the world right now? Yeah, the economy at time over
economy, nativism, sort of, trying to restrict yourself from the world, things like that. So tariffs,
homesteading, all of the kind of processes that are going back, canning, all of
How did you become? How did you become what you are for working at a high school? Like,
so high school teacher to real estate.
So before I was a high school teacher, I've been an entrepreneur
with Compass.
And when I was 12, I had my first job, which was a paper route. So
it was my dad's.
It's great.
And he's quite the man.
You're an entrepreneur because they can't pay you because you couldn't work.
Quite the man, yeah.
But you can be an entrepreneur at any age. So you to do it at age 12, you actually, they sell you the papers and then you sell it to the people.
For yourself.
Yeah. And then deliver them.
Wow.
So at the age of 12, I knew I was running a business. So, and then I was also an athlete in high school and college. And so I had these like pieces of me that were like really caring about people, really driven inside of like business and personal. Then you get into teaching. And unfortunately, our teaching environment is really set up where, and there's good and bad to it, right? Where you sort of can see it doesn't matter how hard you work. You have a scale that and steps.
There's a hierarchical climb.
Yeah. And again, so for better or worse, when I got out of teaching, I loved it, but I was poor. And I was like, oh my God, I actually need to make money. I got to pay bills. I got to pay off my debt. I got to, just live. So most teachers have side gigs, painting, moving, summertime. And I fell into real estate and in 2002.
Common, yeah.
And so I always thought it was just going to be a little side gig. And I took my sort of energy and drive and competitiveness and put it into the business, and it took off. And finally, I was doing both for 3 years. And after 3 years of doing basically what were two full-time jobs, I made a decision to go full-time real estate, which is really challenging because I had a master's degree, 5 years of college, this lifelong dream of being a teacher.
You're like, can we talk about the Great Depression?
Yeah.
There's so much about that.
It sounds like you kind of then did meld the two, because you then took on quite a leadership role in becoming a head agent.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly. So the skill sets actually complement each other so well.
I was about to say that. And so you were able to serve that role.
It's incredible. Yeah. And now I'm fully full circle, where now
you're doing it all for yourself.
Being a teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm back to running a business. So it's really incredible to have walked this journey sort of.
And using all your skill sets.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to share that I was one of your clients who participated in the community that you run to help people be a happier human, and that happiness it's something that you work towards,
you practice.
And people want to be in happy relationships. People want happy marriages. And oh shoot, I'm gonna mess up the name, but I just watched this video of her talking with her husband about how the secret to a happy marriage is being a happy person.
Yeah, and practicing happiness,
it's an intention. Yeah, we were just talking about it.
And I think social media, whatever the reason is, I think we feel like we should wake up and automatically be happy.
It's toxic positivity culture.
Yeah, but we actually have to create structures, routines, just like our health and our wellness. Right, you have to actually eat healthy food to make your body in a healthy state. Well, you actually got to have meditation practices, gratitude practices, mechanisms of coping with stress, like detaching from technology.
Get a hug, cry it out. I mean, the reality is
you really like bringing up the crying. Yeah, you're like, let's cry.
What you're describing and what we
can I not cry on this podcast?
The reality is what you're talking about are regulatory structures, right? And the reality is you can fake happiness, but then what you're doing is the toxic positivity culture. And in reality, you're just perpetuating it more in a negative way. Or you can subscribe to these coping strategies and these regulatory strategies. And then what you're actually doing is you're not faking it, but you're actually making your body happy by producing more serotonin and dopamine and happy, endorphins and neurotransmitters. And you're actually restructuring your brain to be happy, or restructuring your body to be happy.
And creating resiliency, because the reality is we're going to have moments in our life where we're not.
Yes.
And when you have these practices, and again,
they're built into your
routines, you can fall back on it, and it allows you to bounce back. It allows you to be resilient. It allows you to deal with high levels of stress and pressure.
Ups and downs. They refill your cup.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the reality. Totally. The cup gets consumed throughout the day. But if you have those structural moments built in,
then it helps.
Yeah.
Do you want to take us?
Exactly.
You want to take us there now?
Yeah, I can.
We're going to do a little.
Everyone, if you're listening to this podcast right now, what we'll do is we'll walk through one of my practices, which is visualization. It's sort of a crossover between visualization and meditation, but I call it the one-word intention exercise. And what's really critical, in my opinion, is that every month or every year, you sort of reflect and what's this one word that when the minute you see that word, it brings you back to your purpose, your why, your drive, your power, your energy. And sometimes you have to do a practice of visualization or a meditation to sort of manifest that word, and it'll sort of come to you. So if you're listening to the podcast, my recommendation right now is to try to like get very calm, and we'll do it as well in this room. So if you guys are okay, we'll put, get into just a very comfortable position. And if you're listening to the podcast, replicate we'll follow along with what I'm saying as well. And I'm going to ask everyone to just sort of sit up tall and fill your lungs with air. Take a really deep breath. Feel the oxygen coming in your lungs, like literally feel it. And then close your eyes. And as you close your external eye, we're going to open our internal eye. The eye that's in our mind, that allows us to see the future, that allows us to feel the present, and allows us to celebrate the past. Take another really deep breath. And in your mind's eye, I want you to visualize the month of May. And I want you to visualize the amazing things that you're going to do in the month of May with the people in your life who matter. It may be your family, your children, your spouse, your partner, your friends, your parents, your community. Visualize very specifically, whether it's going out to dinners, birthday parties, graduations, travel. Feel that energy. Allow a little smile to come across your face. Take a really deep breath and feel the month of May, the people who matter to you, and the things you're going to do. Take another deep breath. And now visualize what you do professionally. Whatever it might be. Visualize the power you're going to create. The joy you're going to bring to your workplace. The programs that you're going to run. The deals you're going to create. Whatever it is that you do professionally. Allow your smile to get even bigger at the joy you're going to bring to the people that surround you with whatever it is you do. Take one more deep breath. And now in our mind's eye, we're going to visualize someone who is no longer with us that we love. Someone who's passed on, but their energy is still with us. I want you to hear their voice. I want you to visualize them looking down. Visualize the words that they're saying to you, the pride they feel, the joy they feel, the love, the admiration, and feel that energy that they're imparting to you right now in your world. And just be there, be present. The last piece is to take a really deep breath now. And in your mind's eye, what is the one word that's coming to your mind that when you see this word, it instantly brings you back to this beautiful visual you created for just the month of May? It could be an emotional word, an action word. Hold that word in your mind. Take a really deep breath. Slowly open your eyes. And if you're at home listening, write that word down, text it to yourself. Whatever it is you need to do to document that word, write it really big. And for every day in the month of May, I want to challenge you to look at that word at a minimum twice a day. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. The first thing you do in the morning is you recommit to your intention of how you want to live the month of May. At night, you do the same thing. So the first thing you do is you infuse that energy. The last thing you do. And as you need things throughout the course of your day, you can always come back to this one word to give you guidance and to give you energy, to give you support. And you can channel any of the visuals that we just went through to really bring you back.
Do you want to share?
What's your word?
You want to keep yours
I
private?
will share.
Amazing.
You want to? Okay.
Yeah, actually, and it came over me the moment you said it first and then stuck with me the whole time. And it's a strange thing because it's not, I mean, it's something that's sort of new in my life, but singing was it. And it's particularly with my children. So to share just a little, we have a tough life. I mean, tough is a relative term, but my kids watch me physically suffer, and they watch me go through a lot with my health. And it's not simply a physical thing. With my wheelchair, I have a lot of ongoing other symptoms that they watch me go through, particularly vomiting. And I bring that up because it is a violent thing to watch. It is a very overwhelming thing for trained professionals. As an ER doctor, it was hard to be present and listen to patients. And I can only imagine what my kids go through watching me throw up and hearing me go through that, sometimes daily and for hours and things that don't help. But the point is, one of the things that we have started routinely doing is singing. And the impact that it's had on my children is really beautiful, and the impact that it's had on me. So one morning, actually we do it before bed, and we do it every morning. So we start the day and we end the day.
Excellent.
And we do that with intention.
Yeah.
So at night, they have 2 songs that they particularly each request. And my younger son likes me to sing. We play the song and I sing it to him, which is Johnny Cash, You Are My Sunshine. And my older son likes the Billy Joel Lullaby. And they're both very emotional songs. Yeah. And in the morning, we sing John Denver songs, actually, both my boys request, Annie's Song and Country Roads. And the point is that one morning I was throwing up, and it's my boys and me at home, and I had to get them to school. And there's not a lot of we have a lot of great support, but when it's last minute and it's hard to pinpoint, you just sort of push through it. And they're watching me, and they requested Country Roads on Alexa, and I'm just trying to get myself together, and they start dancing around me, and they were singing the songs. And all of a sudden, I'm in this horrific amount of pain, but there's this huge smile on my face. Yeah. And the best part was my older son goes, "See, Mom, we gave you dopamine."
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Just
so beautiful. Yeah. And that energy, that word,
he just understands it, and that we talk about it, and and he even said it. He literally said, "Mommy, I'm giving you dopamine."
Oh my God, that's so Amira's child.
Yeah.
It just makes me think really fast. I just want to share. I don't mean to be so emotional, but
no, but that's
when we decided to do this when we decided to do this podcast. Can you share what Kim said about this podcast?
Which part? I mean,
He said, "Well, can I be on the podcast too?" How old is he?
He's 7. Yeah, 7. I wanted to be on the podcast, but my older son in particular, we've gone through quite a lot together, and he's 10, and he's already given me permission to talk about some of his experiences and consent to it, and he's gone through a long, delayed diagnostic process with autism, and it's been just a really long process for him, and really brought him a lot of self-awareness, and it's been an interesting process for me and a lot of self-reflection. And though I don't have a diagnosis, it's just been very eye-opening. And so we were talking about it, and I asked him when we were talking about this with consent, and he goes, "Mom, of course I want you to talk about it." He says, that's who I am. I said, "Why would you not talk about it?"
Yeah.
That's that's what you're talking about.
No, it's not. It was, and
so Raquel goes, he asked to be on it. He's like, he wanted to come and be a host.
Yeah. And you said, "Well, why do you want to come on the podcast?" And he said, "Because I want to talk about how amazing it is to have a mom in a wheelchair."
Oh, that's
amazing. That's great.
Can you believe that?
That's amazing.
And just your children are.
Exactly. He said he wanted to talk about how fun it is to have a mom in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to them. I'm a unicorn.
Yeah.
To them, they grew up with this.
Of course. Yeah.
And so, I had a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old when this came into our lives. And so it's a magical utility that they ride on and we have fun with, and they see me get to experience everything beautifully with. Yeah. So,
well, share your intention with them as well, and even challenge them to come up with a word. And you could tell them when you're feeling anxiety or stress, like I do.
Well, so they just picked it up and they did that
to your word.
Yeah, but they may have a different word. They may
for them, but I meant for me. They sensed it.
Yeah.
They put Alexa on and just
beautiful.
said, "I'm giving you my happiness, Mommy."
It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
mine right now, what's coming up for me is child. I think I'm just like doing some personal work and like excavating and looking at my inner child, and also looking at how my inner child sees other people's inner child, and how that's a part of my work as a connector and as a matchmaker to help people's child feel that they're lovable.
Yeah.
How to make my children feel like they're lovable, like they don't need to do anything to get my love. And another part of being a child and accessing my inner child and loving my inner child is play.
Yeah.
You know, the way that children can access play.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. So the way you can use this, and if you're at home, whatever your word is, when you start in the morning, that gives you a little bit of a 1 second routine around happiness. But the other thing you can do is throughout the course of the day, like if you are getting stressed out about, whatever, fill in the blank, you can say the word out loud and it carries power because you connect it to a visual that you, in your brain, you've connected it to energy that may no longer be physically present, but is energetically present with us.
These are deeply seated in your brain.
These
too,
are.
right?
Exactly.
With memory, emotion, smell, sound.
That's right.
Music, all of you, whatever your word, the more you visualize.
And you're channeling someone's spirit too. It's also someone's, there's a spiritual piece.
What it also does, it brings you back to your control and your power, because the vast majority of the things that we get anxious about or upset about are actually things that are outside of us and are actually things that we don't really need to get upset about. So what it does is sort of brings us back to an intention internally as well, with just that one word, and it doesn't always work, right? Sometimes
it takes practice. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to work
tons
the first time,
because
these are habitual processes that you have to ingrain.
That's exactly right.
In process and habit and in your brain, in your brain processing.
Right. Yep. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear everybody's word. Feel free to share it with us.
Say though, the first couple times I tried either meditation or visualization, it didn't work for me. I think it takes a lot of being uncomfortable, letting yourself be uncomfortable, and sort of inviting it. I'll be honest, I got a terrible migraine the first time I tried to meditate. It's horrific. I was like, I swore it off. I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like, I convinced myself I was like allergic to meditation. It took me a while to really find myself quiet enough. I mean, the reality is letting go of whatever's external, but even the noise in your head long enough to be empty enough to feel that way, to let something come to you instead of you channeling whatever is perseverating in your head.
That's right.
Is very different.
The other thing too, for anyone that's listening, for you,
it takes practice.
It takes practice. It takes a lot of grace, and it takes a lot of lack of judgment.
Even
well,
yourself,
because of the fact that you're like, I'm not good at this. I'm not, migraine's a little different.
Well, no, the point was like, I probably manifested.
Yeah.
It's like,
the other thing to think about is that our brain is hundreds of thousands of years old, but our technology is decades old, or years old, or months old. And we're really subjecting our brain and our emotions to these factors that we're not really evolved to deal with. And when you meditate, what you're doing, you're actually bringing yourself back to an ancient state of being that we existed for hundreds of thousands of years ago. We lived in societies where we took life slow.
Well, you think
where
of
we had joy.
There are cultures and places, people who still live these lives.
That's right. But we live in a society that's so fast.
Those social expectations, societal expectations.
Totally. Think about waking up.
Bills, period.
Let's just take waking up in the morning. In the way we've evolved, you woke up slowly and calmly, the sun.
And you grounded and you walked in the grass. And
what do?
And you take a stimulant.
We take a stimulant. We drink coffee. We then click a button on a phone, on an electronic device that instantly brings us into stress and anxiety and overwhelm and all this stuff. So when you think about your brain, we are subjecting our brains to these factors and these things that we just frankly aren't really geared to deal with. So the reason I bring that up is that meditation is your little bit of a chance to calm your brain down, reconnect with your energy. And even if you just practice it for a minute or 10 minutes, 20 minutes is ideal, just to like give yourself some of that time, especially first thing in the morning.
Can you tell me about the first hour of your day today?
First hour of my day was, and I'll be fully
Let's be honest. That's okay. Yeah.
My ex-wife and I are having a little disagreement around schedule, and I think she'd be okay. I won't get into the details or anything like that. So the first hour of my day was actually, sort of navigating this disagreement, which only came in because I picked up my cell phone, as opposed to what I try to do, which is I have my phone across the room. The alarm goes off if I need it. Right now with the sun coming up, I actually am waking up pretty well naturally, but if I need it, and then I won't look at it. And so that's my ideal. I did not do that today. And my day started. Now, what I did do is I didn't want to meditate, but I did. I forced myself to do it. And it really, really helped me calm down energetically, And then I had a meeting because my morning was a little delayed from my normal. And my meeting was at 8 o'clock. I ran a call at 8 to 8:45. And then I had all these things to do, but I missed my workout. And at 8:45, rather than, say, okay, I'm just going to start the day and work on the emails, I said, I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
And this is a concept I call being healthy selfish, right? Like I'm actually going to be really selfish right now, and I'm going to actually take care of myself because I got to show up to this with energy. I got to show up. People are paying me money to help coach them.
Yeah.
If I show up depleted to them, that's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So I actually had to reconfigure my energy this morning, and actually I have emails I haven't gotten back to right now, but it's so much better for me to have done the meditation, done the call, and then I went and worked out, even though like everything in me was like, just, all right, whatever, I'll miss it today. My brain was saying, just miss it. It's no big deal. Trying to make those excuses, but I forced myself to do it. And thank God I did, because it really, really helped me reground myself into, having a really good energetic state.
I love your honesty here. Yeah. Because I think you teach others, but you also teach yourself. And I like to ask people about the first hour of their day, because what I realize is a lot of people have like really hard jobs and really hard lives, and they say that they don't have time. And I'm just like, what did you do in the first hour of your day? And I find out that they scroll,
Well, I also
and I'm not saying I'm immune to it, right? I'm not saying I'm immune to the scroll, but like when you hear about any person infusing any intention into their morning, and I don't care if it's meditation, any kind of ritual, like some people just wake up and they think about all the things they're going to achieve that day, or the one word, or whatever it is, instead of just hopping to the scroll.
Yeah. And again, meditation, the other thing as well, to this point, meditation is not sitting in a chair in a yoga style, like with a candle, singing a song.
Yeah,
is meditation, right? That's meditation. Taking a walk.
It's mental. Yeah.
Meditation's about being present and slowing things down and breathing, right? So as long as you can do that, you can meditate. And again, that's like one of those things that there's lots of levels of this, and you can get into like, really, really deep stuff. But the basics of it, if you can breathe and you can just notice your breath, you're meditating. And that's the basics of it. And just, set a timer for a minute to start, and that's all you got to start with. And again, I use that one word, intention. It is almost like a 1 second meditation in many ways, if you say it out loud.
Because it brings you right back to the process, especially if you practice it.
Yeah. And I think the beauty of you, Skye, is that you help people come together to talk about their one word intention and be like, let's do it. You know what I mean? And then you get accountability, and then you get community, and then you're a super connector. You know what I mean? Because you're helping us strive to be better people, but in community and in a group.
Well, and in real life, because what I will say, particular to just your comment about the morning, right, was, it's great to conceptualize leaving your phone on the other side of the room for an hour, but we all have kids, and we all have obligations, and we all have jobs, and we all have bosses, and we all have exes or currents, or somebody is expecting us to answer the phone. So the reality is how do you still maintain a sense of regulation and those things, despite those interactions that are going to be part of everyday life.
That's right.
So you have to figure out to integrate those. You have to figure out how to restructure after those.
That's right.
And not avoid conversation about them, not discuss that they didn't happen, or that you did it correctly, but that, you know what, this is the way actually life happened.
That's right.
And this is what I did around it.
Yeah. Now, the thing to just challenge, if you're listening to this, though, think of this concept of being healthy selfish. All these conversations from other people, usually when we're waking up in the morning, we can delay those answers, an hour, 2 hours till the afternoon, most of the time.
But you have to deal with the expectations of the other person,
Boom.
Which often comes with time, process, resetting.
Their anger,
issue, or whatever else you're going to get.
We need to practice more self-love where we actually, and again, that's why I use the word healthy
by your
selfish.
own intentions and expectations.
Let me make sure I'm taken care of first. And it's again, especially as parents and as, partners and all the stuff we are, our tendency is to want to take care of our kids first, right? Are our kids okay? And that's a great thing. But the reality is if we actually don't take care of ourselves first, right? And make sure we are built up, our cup is filled, then when we go to deal with other people, it doesn't actually, it doesn't, like my triggers are, again, full disclosure, like I'm being triggered just by what she said, and she's being triggered by what I said, and right? So then we get into this like back and forth, and this like sort of spiral, as opposed to me saying, you know what, I should have just put it away. I should have, got into my routine. I didn't. But then again, it's one of those situations where now I did have routines and structures to fall back on, that allowed me to recover. And that's...
And if you practice them routinely, they don't become difficult. They just become habit.
You got it. And it's easier. It's almost like a muscle. It's easier for me to say, fuck the emails.
Yeah.
Fuck the calls. Fuck the people who are expecting stuff from me. I'm actually going to take care of me right now. And I'm not hurting anyone when I do that, by the way. It's not like I'm saying...
No, in other words, you're actually helping.
You are.
By regulating yourself.
Exactly.
Because there's always an action and a reaction. You're controlling your reaction.
That's it.
And the other, anyway.
Yeah. Could I go back to divorce for a moment?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, I work in love, and a part of it is listening to breakups and divorce. And I'm noticing it a lot all around me. A lot of divorce.
Yeah.
And
to relationships.
Yeah.
And to relationships. And I guess I'm wondering if you have advice on what to say to someone, What do you say to someone when they tell you that a breakup has happened?
Yep.
Yeah.
The number one thing not to say is, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry for you. Yeah.
That's the number one thing, because number one, even if it wasn't their choice, like you're immediately putting them into a victim position, which is not a healthy thing for anyone getting divorced. For me, what I usually say is, may I ask a question, is this something where you'd want to hear congratulations, or is it something you'd want to hear support? And, again, it's like one of those things that sometimes that, and I usually say it in a little light, like laughter.
Framework.
Yeah. Like, hey, oh my God. So can I say congratulations, or do you want just a hug for support right now? And this way you sort of lighten it up a little bit, because it's really heavy. It's really fucking heavy, and it carries this heavy energy with it, right? So one of my first goals when I meet someone and they say, oh yeah, I'm going through a divorce, can I ask you a question? Can I say congratulations,
back right there.
Or do you need a hug for support?
Probably both.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes both, right?
Most people will say both.
And again, the whole thing is they're so used to people saying, I'm so sorry, and for all of us, like we all have different opinions of divorce and different experiences of divorce, and maybe our parents were, and we're trying to avoid it, and whatever it might be. What we want to do in many ways is just empower people. And so by asking that question, you don't even bring up the victim side of it. You bring up I need support right now, which isn't a victim. That's just being a human.
Let it ask for what they want.
And I was about to say, you're touching on something here that I relate to a lot, because once, my physical body changed, I was in a position of having to ask for or receive help quite a lot.
Yeah.
And help is sort of a tie in here because, help is something that's really tricky because it's usually not, even with the best of intentions, it isn't given at the level of which help is wanted for the person receiving it.
Yep.
It is given with some overtone of which the person giving it wants it to be given.
Yep.
That's right.
So with what they want to see or with what expectations they have for that person.
Yeah.
It comes from a great place of love, but it's the same thing with marriage. People are carrying their feelings about marriage or their societal beliefs, whether it is about your relationship or about marriage or about religion or wherever they believe their feelings of marriage come, and they're sorry from that perspective.
That's right.
And they're not coming from that perspective of what that person needs in that moment. Yeah. And that's the same issue with help.
Yeah. And they're also coming at it from a level of protectionism, like where most of the people we talk about are the ones that love us the most.
Yeah. But it's coming from their
It's come from their thing.
Their set of needs.
Yeah. And sometimes
it's hard to separate those sometimes.
Yeah. And they want to tear the other person down as well.
Because
right?
it might not be enough. That does not in that moment.
Play game.
Yeah. Like I want my kids, I want the world to look at my ex-wife as the best mom, the best person. Yeah. That's my hope. I want her to feel that. I want my kids to look at her.
I hope she hears that.
And I hope she does. And I tell her that,
empower your family.
I want her to be the best version of herself, right?
Yeah.
And I want other people to look at her the best version.
That'll certainly help your union.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I think the other thing.
What you did there? You see what she did there? Yeah.
I love it.
Relationship with her as well, which will forever last.
Yeah.
Never
together
changes.
forever. Yeah, we have 2 kids we both love equally.
Oh, I love
and you
that.
share that investment with no one else.
Exactly.
Is it okay if we start to? Yeah. So something special about you, Skye. Sometimes you send me like a video message or whatever, and or sometimes when I'm onto something really big, I'm like, I'm gonna share this with Skye. Like I just share it. And I just remember like one time I was like sharing with you like something that I'm working on in my business, and you sent me this message, and you were like, I fucking love your energy. So I just want to like end with saying like, Skye, I fucking love your energy. I love that Skye energy, and I would just love to hear one piece of advice that you have for people on how to help people connect with others or with themselves before we let you go. And then Amira, wrap it up.
Yeah. The biggest piece of advice I have for everyone is to identify what you need to do to be selfish, healthy selfish for yourself, whatever that might be. And whether it's meditation, working out, eating right, reading, journaling, singing, doing a podcast, anything. Identify the thing that makes you so incredibly happy and so calm and so present, and then practice it every single day.
Okay. Good challenge. All right. Amira is going to wrap us up with 1 minute. Just giggling. Why are you giggling over there? All right, Amira.
Getting better and better, I think.
Take it home. Take it home. Go.
As a former people pleaser and a person who was highly triggered by the concept of put your oxygen mask on first, I will say I finally have come to understand it. You've got to give me the phrase again.
Healthy selfish.
Healthy selfish. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm going to have that be a personal mantra. I've always struggled with that concept. And, as someone who essentially pushed the limits of the autoimmune world until I broke, it took hard lessons for me to learn it. The reality is wellness doesn't have to be a triggering term. It doesn't have to make you feel full of toxic positivity. The reality is wellness is a practiced habit. It is an intention. You can do it by grounding. You can do it by singing. You can do it by finding a connection, telling someone you love them, getting a hug, crying for oxytocin, my favorite thing. Reset your body. But it's practiced. It's a choice.
Love it.
Beautiful.
I love it. Thank you, Skye. Thank you, Amira.